f of x is 1 where x is less than 2, and it's 0 where x is greater than or equal to 2. What is the limit as x approaches 2 of this function? Okay? What does the graph of this thing look like? Yes, sir.
Like it's a line on 1 with from x equals 2.
When f of x equals 1, right? When f of x equals 1. So that's a line that looks like this.
And there's an open circle on the end.
And then at 2, it'd be an open circle, right?
And then down.
Pause a moment. I see some frowning faces, piecewise functions, scared, fear, growing. You're a fear again. You guys good?
Yeah.
What happens at 2 though?
It's a full circle at 0, like at y equals 0.
Y equals 0, so f of x equals 0 function, which goes that way, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So what is the limit of this function as we approach 2 from the left and the right? Mr. Williams?
Would it be like 0.5?
Nope.
Would it be not defined? Like that doesn't exist?
No, it would not be not defined. What would it be?
2. The limit does not exist.
Wait, it was
2.
1 and
Okay,
0.
pause a moment.
0.
I'm going to take some hands because it's going to take a while. Yes, sir. The limit does not exist. Why? Because as you approach to the left, the tested value, and approach to the right, the tested value, you're not approaching the same value. From the left, you're approaching 1. From the right, you're approaching 0. Therefore, the limit does not exist. Yes, sir.
Well, what if it was asking for a limit at like 4?
The limit as x approaches 4 would be 0, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So there is if it's a different value, there is a limit.
Absolutely. Another thing that I was going to mention it, I just mentioned that one, but I wasn't going to mention it, but yeah. That's another thing they like to do. They use an obvious place where you got to figure out what the limit is, and then they'll say over here, you're like, what are you guys doing? Just monkey with me. I got a minute and 50-something seconds to answer this question, and you're picking weird places to take the limit. Thank you. It's hard? All right. Let's try, if the function, let me try, go ahead and graph 1 over x. You should know what that graph looks like, but if you don't, put in your calculator. There is no limit. That is incorrect.
The limit does not exist.
There is no limit.
Wait, how is there no limit?
We never say there is no limit. What do we say? The limit does not exist.
Okay, how does the limit not exist?
Well, because as I approach 0 from the left and right, am I approaching the same value? No. That's one reason. Reason number 2, by the way, if both of them were going to infinity, the limit still not exist because when you approach infinity, the limit does not exist. There's no limit. You're not being limited by going to infinity. That's silly.
Wait, so if on a test you're like x is going to infinity,
That's you have a limit.
oh.
Because this one, actually, let's do that. As x approaches infinity, what is the limit of this function? 0. It's approaching 0 but not reaching it. That's the limit. Well done. Good thinking. That's chapter 5. We'll get there. All right, everybody go ahead and make sure you count this in radians. And then try the limit as x approaches 0 sine parentheses 1 over x. And parentheses.
Wait, what?
Problem number 3, limit as x approaches 0. So you're going to write sine 1 over x, and then you're going to look at your graph and try to figure out what the limit is. This is not right. Something that really works just happened.
It's like 2 lines.
You're going to want to tell me why
Because there's the whole OT.
There's an asymptote.
That's true, but too big. Is it asymptote? Not really.
It doesn't touch zero. X equals 0.
Will you use it to touch 0? How would you?
I don't know.
It can be really blurry in the middle. Okay, good. How do you find that period of something? It's 1 over the bottom, correct? You have 2 pi over the bottom. So if your bottom's approaching 0, what is your period approaching? Sorry, what is your period approaching? 1 over 0, so 0 gets flipped up and you end up with a period of 0. Which is an infinitely skinny sine function. Which means it's 1, 0, and everything in between. 1, -1, everything in between that middle spot. What you really need to know is this. If it gets oscillating like that, what's the correct answer for everyone?
The limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist. Thank you for that, sir. All right. So using the graph, so on the back, I gave you an equation, and then I asked you to find the limit. I drew in extra big dots and squares to help you find where it is you want to find the limit, in case you can't see them. And I don't even want you to do it algebraic. I want you to do 1a just by looking at the graph. So as I approach 0, what is the function approaching? 1. I'm glad somebody said 0 because that makes me cry inside. As we approach -1, what are we approaching? 3. Excellent. As we're approaching -2 on 2, what are we approaching? -5. So I'm approaching 0. What am I approaching? -3. It's a hole. Doesn't matter. Don't care what's at the point. We're approaching -3 from the left and the right. I went really fast. Yeah, let's go. All right. Try the rest of those out. Or you can try the ones below.
I'm a little confused why the limit does not exist.
Which one? Okay, so here's what's really happening in the middle. The period of your wave becomes 0. So if you think about it, at 0, here's the graph. This is part of your graph. What is it at 0? What are we approaching as we get there? A whole lot of numbers. 1, 0, -1.
I see.
-0.5, +0.5, there's a whole list of things. We're not approaching a single number, so therefore, the limit does not exist. No, this is the, well, let me look at that one. Yes, on 4, although it doesn't say 4, the correct answers would be the limit does not exist and -1. Yes, we go back. Yes, ma'am. There's one dot all the way down below. That can happen. No, the limit does exist. What is the limit approaching? Do I care what happens at 1? So what is it? What is the function? What is this function approaching? If I approach 1, but not at 1. No. It approaches 3 from the left and the right. We only ask what are we approaching, not what we're at. So if I'm falling on the function, I'm approaching where the hole is, aren't I? Which is what? Doesn't matter. I don't care what's happening at the point. I can so not care about that. It can have a dot, not have a dot. I don't care. It's not a problem. Now, if it asks me what it is at 3, I have to say what? Well, what am I approaching? I'm approaching 3. Am I not? Because, oh, this is a 1, sorry.
Approaching 3.
It's 15.
So as I slide myself along the function, what am I approaching? 3. I'm not approaching that dot. I'm not. The dot doesn't matter. What happens at the point never matters. When there's 2 lines, that's a problem. Where's 2 lines? Okay, so if you had not a function, then this becomes much harder to do. You might have to add 2 answers. If you like, but they won't do that to you. It's so boring. You know, it's going up and down faster and faster and faster. The limit does not exist. You literally have a straight horizontal line. 0.
But at 0, we care about approaching 0, right? So it's only 1.
So the problem is this. It's not 1 because it's 1 over 0. 1 over 0 is infinity. Your cosine of 0 of infinity is what's going on there.
Yeah, but we care about getting to that.
So at that point, your period is 0. Which means your whole cosine function fits in 0 distance. Meaning that you have 1, -1, 0, and every other point in between. So what value are we approaching? All those. If you're approaching all those, the correct phrase is the limit does not.
Do we have to put the?
Not sure. Yes, put God down.
How do you know your period?
I'm afraid of people. I am afraid of people.
How do you know that your period is 0?
Well, you know your period is 2 pi over k, right? Which is a number that's usually sitting here, yeah? But if you jam theta on the bottom, it effectively acts like k. Which means you're putting 1 over 0 on the bottom. Which means this is going to flip up. And so your period is 0. When your period's 0, that means you do a whole sine or cosine curve in 0 distance.
Is that 17?
That's 17, yeah. And so, in all honesty, what it boils down to is if you see something that's just this, and about there they ask the limit, the correct answer is the limit does not exist.
Wait, so 17 0?
17 is the limit does not exist.
Wait, well, I wrote that down.
Monkey busy.
I don't understand, but I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so confused.
Oh, what?
How?
Okay, what is it approaching? You can't tell, can you? The limit does not exist.
If you just can't tell, they can
Just make it easy.
just say
Pretty much. Well, bad copy, but they AP Central into it too. If I do it, you don't have to explain it to you. I'll be like, oh, I don't understand this crap. I'm like, okay.
But if AP does it, then that means it's just like assume. Okay.
You can assume they're going to have a really good graph, right? Worst case, just because you can't read my graph, you might read hand saying, is this a graph I'm supposed to be able to read? See what's happening in the middle here? You could do that. I mean, I look at you. I'll do that smart.
No way.
I have your title name is awesome. Yeah, it's just like you're writing nothing, no right to be like a virtue.
I have the right to
Like the chaos theory?
Chaos theory. Multiple books.
We skipped over.
I know a guy in Nebraska.
I know, right?
I send him answers. He doesn't like that. Although I'm really busy at school.
Like physical puzzles?
It's
No.
the right to
Mathematical generated chaos.
Remember
By email or that's kind of fun. Let's try playing chess.
And since I'm at top
I got to play. It's like check in 32 moves. Right?
What's the deal?
It's like a
Science. Title nine.
That's why I didn't think I
Where's
All right.
Where's worksheet class?
Ah.
Like 12.